sorry. We all good?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Obviously, I will attempt to point out all the steps and uneven surfaces, but if you need any extra time, just let me know, yeah?
Yeah.
So obviously, the steps here, again, please don't step onto the track. The rail is clear the track area, but obviously it's not highlighted at the edge, so just take your time, yeah? So if you mind yourself, come back, so don't forget to slide the camera.
Yeah, welcome up your picture.
Ooh, this is very interesting.
So normally all the animatronics are on, but unfortunately they have to be off because some of them move into the path and out of the path, and therefore we don't want anybody knocked over or anything. Mind your step here, guys, stepping into this scene. And then there's a step down here off that scene onto this walkway.
I love this. This is brilliant.
See what tree point you feet, guys.
This is the bit where it goes, grease your bearings, Gromit.
So this bit gets a bit narrower, so take your time. If you want to stand with your back to the wall, that's fine. And the yellow strips are there as grip strips, so if you put your feet against them, although it's not slippery, but just take all the time you need. Just get everybody onto this lift hill and then I'll put this blind one. Alright. Let's just see. We're all... So where you are now is the descent that leads into the rocket scene, and if you ride the ride here, sometimes you feel like you're travelling quite fast, and the way they make that happen is there's a fan that blows air up this tunnel, and it's all in the dark, and it gives you the impression that you're travelling a lot faster than you actually are, but actually you come down here in a very controlled manner. This isn't a roller coaster like a free rolling coaster, it's a powered coaster, so the trains have constantly got power to the vehicles, so they're actually under quite a lot of control when they're travelling around the ride. There's no lift hills or chains or pull-up systems. Obviously you can see why we don't want you stepping on the track. Some of the track has got voids underneath it. The ride is actually over 3 levels. So when we're in the station on the upper level, we come down to sort of a middle level, and then the ride travels all the way down to a lower level, which is at the same level as the river caves trough. And while the ride's travelling around, the track actually goes over the top of itself quite a few times. So I may point out some areas where the track is also above you or below you.
Wow, this is absolutely incredible.
So we're entering what you guys will know is the rocket scene from the first Wallace and Gromit movie, The Grand Day Out. Anybody who knows anything about the history of Blackpool Pleasure Beach is that this ride used to be called the gold mine. And hence why you'll notice quite a lot of the walls are still this rugged mine effect. It's because it was easier to paint it black than it was to completely remove all of this wall structure and then replace it. So our location now is roughly, on the other side of that wall is the site where the wild mouse used to be. So a bit further over there is where the ghost train is. Did anybody come here for Journey to Hell? To our Journey to Hell week? Okay, so we're doing an event called Journey to Hell where we use what we call the tunnels, which are a set of fire exits that run through the middle between the river caves and the Wallace ride. And they're actually right behind you on the ground level. It's a set of tunnels. So the river caves is behind you. The wild mouse used to be there and the ghost train is there, so we're right in the middle of all of those 3 areas.
That's quite cool.
And again, obviously, if you want to pause and take any photos of this area, it's absolutely fine. What you'll notice around the ride are quite a lot of these little fire exit doors and routes. There's a doorway that leads from here that leads to other sections of the ride I'll point out later. But we have access to get in and out. Obviously, if there's a stoppage on the ride and we need to get to the guests as quickly and safely as possible, we can use the little pathway to get there.
This is amazing. Hold on, Gromit. I love these. These These are just cute.
It's porridge today, lad. It's Tuesday.
That's what he usually says in that when he's bouncing up and down, isn't it?
So in this scene, obviously, that's here and you see where the track contour is, but if you look above you can actually see that we're underneath the track for another section of the ride, and we're running in parallel with that all the way up to the top there. When we walk around a bit later, you might hear people in other parts of the ride, and may actually be above you at another location.
So there's an actual track above us. That's quite cool. And also you've got the sensors just down there as well. Quite narrow as well.
So where we are now is sort of the wall behind you, is right behind there is the top end of the ghost train, and what we call Magnolia's, that little ice cream parlour. So the fire exit that you stick in your head through leads out to where there used to be a bar. We used to sell a lot more alcohol than we used to do now. And you can, I can walk out that fire exit and come out of the door and I'm in between Magnolia's and the ghost train. Or I can walk up a flight of stairs and it takes me straight to the exit, the fire exit for the shop upstairs. So the whole place is a bit of a labyrinth. Mind yourself as you come around this area here. The floors are pretty level, but there are some obstructions, so make sure you keep an eye on the floor.
Oh, I love this scene.
Mind yourself as you come past it, even though there's a walkway, these metal struts that are here to support the floor, so just take your time walking around them. So where we are now, the village scene with the aeroplane. Anybody who's been to Pleasure Beach for a day out and rode the river caves, so the river caves before the Wallace and Gromit was built used to have what we call the ice cave, which had all the stalagmites and stalactites in it. And that was quite a large room with a lake in it. When they built this ride, they took away some of that. So this is actually built where the lake was, and behind you, encased in this dark sort of semicircular box section, is actually the new river caves tunnel that goes around this corner here and goes back on itself there. If you just look through that doorway there, when you come round to where I am, don't lean over the track, you'll see what looks like a pile of rubble, and obviously when they were doing the demolishing, and they built that's a void of space in the back of the river caves, between the river caves and this scene.
Can I ask a quick question?
You can ask any questions.
See that bit there? Is that where the glass roof used to be? Because my understanding
was these used to be in the same area when it was the gold mine. Now I never rode the gold mine when I came here. We did originally attempt to use the same track, but it had to be retracked. But it is still the same track route. Is that they used to occupy the same space, and you could see from one to the other. Yeah. And where they hold that grotto now, which is the area. It's a room near opposite the arena entrance. You can go underneath and do our Christmas grotto. That room, you can go through that room, through a set of doors, and then straight to here as well. So it's all little things. Mind yourself, you can pass these up, guys.
That's a pile of rubble that I was talking about.
So this way it's a bit narrow, so you take your time.
And then that's where the river caves just below us there as well. Very interesting.
So if you guys just want to come around here but wait here, I just want to make sure this lady is okay. You just stop there, don't worry for everyone, it'll be right there.
I love this scene.
Take all the time you need, guys.
Oh, I didn't actually know that moved. You see that? It's a belt.
It's quite narrow.
I didn't know that. I doubt it was like riding this with the lights on.
No, I don't think we're very good actually.
Okay. Now guys, if you mind, so it's a bit of a steep incline here, but just take all the time. And also we're getting to some of the low roof sections and mind your heads. Again, you can see obviously where it was the gold mine. Obviously we've maintained some of the original theming.
Is this where the rabbits pop out in that?
That's actually a little bit further around. We're heading down towards the bread scene, you know, where the baker's scene.
Oh, I love that scene.
It's like a matter of loaf and depth. So mind your step, guys.
It's one of my favourite scenes, that one.
Mind your step here as well. So where we are now is the lowest section of the ride. So to put this, so the river cage is on the other side of that wall, and on the other side of this wall is a fire exit route, and on the other side of that is the Watson Road tunnel. So we're actually on the ground level, and that's cars driving up and down the Watson Road tunnel. So those large doors are there because we can actually bring a forklift down the Watson Road tunnel straight into the ride and remove the ride vehicles on ground level here and take them straight round to our workshop. But that's where we are. We're effectively on the lowest level of the ride. And when we go back up again, we're actually going over the top of the river cave tunnel where the boats go through.
So see obviously the bread smell pod. I've always wondered, is that actually in that pot? Is it?
No, there's an atomizer that produces they're like you can buy, I think you can actually buy them online, they're professional ones. And it's a machine that atomizes a chemical. The same way that when you go to horror events and you can smell death and blood, we have lovely smelling bread in our scenes.
I thought the smell pod was actually coming out of that what she was holding. I've got a bomb in my pants, Gromit. This is amazing. I love this.
Again, mind your heads, guys, as you come up this section here because the scene's a bit low. So this is obviously the museum scene from The Wrong Trousers. Again, just to give you a bit of a layout, a bit of knowledge, there's a secret door in that wall that leads straight through to the rocket scene, and also a little back of house engineering space. Really? So again, it's just another way that we can come through the ride and access the areas quickly to deal with any guest concerns if there's a stop.
Where's the secret door?
It's a secret. It's in that wall somewhere.
Alright, okay.
It's in the far corner behind the dinosaur. All good, yeah? All good at the back, okay? On your heads again. So now we're at the bit that one you mentioned earlier where the rabbits pop out of the walls, so we've just come through that part now.
Yeah, you can tell this is like kind of like the old mine theme.
Yeah.
Quite heavy themed the mine here, but it's good that you have kind of changed it into
Wallace and Gromit. For this particular part of the ride it works really well because rabbit burrows and tunnels are all the same kind of thing.
You have kind of planned it out pretty well.
Yeah.
Is that a little fire exit in there as well?
Yeah, there's quite a few of them dotted around the ride. They also lead to other sections of the ride, so the one there leads literally onto the track near the beginning of the ride. When I was telling you guys that we had track above us, as we turn this bend, we're now above sections of track beneath us, so when we go to the other side, we're actually above that section that leads from the rocket scene. So we're on the final stretch now. So you can just see through the floor beneath us. You can actually see that's the track that leads from the rocket scene, that original bedroom scene where he was hanging each there.
I was actually thinking that this scene's quite good, but I noticed here there doesn't seem to be very much.
Yeah, you'll find there's quite a load of voids because all the theme is on. So I'm just going to have a quick conversation here. So obviously you guys are aware that this used to be a ride called the Mine Train before it was the Wallace and Gromit ride. And we used to have a ride here called the Space Invader. Now it was before my time, so I couldn't tell you about what the IP ownership was, but we used to have quite a bit of Star Wars memorabilia that was actually on display there. And when that was provided to us, we had 2 or 3 of these Han Solos in carbonite from Star Wars. And we didn't need to use them all on that. So one of them was re-themed and put in the gold mine as instead of Han Solo Harrison Ford, it became an Indiana Jones Harrison Ford. And then when this ride was then re-themed again as a new IP with Wallace and Gromit, that couldn't be on display. So it was just covered up. We didn't remove it. So it's still here. It's normally behind a curtain. Nobody knows it's there normally because the ride's running and it's in pitch blackness. But if you want to see it, take a photo. Absolutely fine. It's a bit exclusive. Only the operators or staff here can see it. But as you can see, there's Han Solo. I mean, there's Indiana Jones because he's wearing a hat now. But Indiana Jones on the wall with his little hump, obviously as part of the theming of the ride. And that's just us reusing something. That was for
That's pretty cool.
another reason. So, mind step is come round, guys. So on the final stretch, heading back up towards the station, we're effectively coming back up to that 3rd level again.
Oh, is that the train up there?
Yeah. So if you're riding the ride, it's the scene where the little penguin and the sheep, Shaun the sheep, is in wrong trousers when they're chasing each other through the house, and he goes around the corner. So you actually see it above your heads if you look up at the right time. So we're coming back towards the end of the ride, where obviously we've got characters from the very first film, obviously the Grand Day Out. Rather than walk around the corner, we're just going to cut through here because there's quite a few awkward steps there, so we're just going to cut through this bit, but mind your step as you come through, guys, yeah?
Obviously, we've got Wallace and Gromit there as well.
So where we are here is one of the last bends of the ride. The reason that area is pretty empty is because the curtained areas is where we have our maintenance where we can take vehicles on and off the ride. But ultimately what the guests come around, they see stuff on the TVs and they come around and obviously this needs to stay dark because then the surprise by the last feature we're just aware of it. So you want to make your way around this side, please. Obviously if you want to try and do yourself a selfie with it in the background, that's fine. Just please don't step onto the track.
There's a bear rabbit. Brilliant. We've also got a lot of rabbits here as well. We've also got a car here as well. Pretty cool.
Here we go. Mind your heads, guys, as you walk under this, there's no padding on it. It's quite low.
Wallace and Gromit.
More groups? One more, okay.
I'm not sure.
Oh, okay.
That's what help the guys. Perfect, thank you.
You have to go through the exit into the shop.